4 impactful years. A public affairs forum on the Jonathan administration organized by Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs, featuring the Ministry of Agriculture.
And under this president, it took us exactly 90 days to end the corruption of 40 years in the fertilizer and seed sector of this country.
Health.
Nigeria has attained global health leadership and continues to assume an increasingly prominent role in the African region. One that we must not forget in a jiffy is the Ebola virus.
This is a fact and figures forum to measure the growth in the various sectors of Nigeria's economy under the Jonathan administration from 2011 till date. The question we are answering is, where was Nigeria before President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan came on board in 2011, and where is Nigeria now? President Jonathan launched a time-bound aggressive plan to unlock Nigeria's agricultural potential with its grow food, create jobs and create wealth mandate. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture explains more.
This president set a clear target for the nation to produce 20 million metric tons of food between 2011 and 2015. That was the target. It wasn't waffling, it wasn't we'll do it, we might do this. That was the target. And to create 3.5 million farm jobs and others along the value chain. And for this to happen, we took a decision that agriculture is not a way of life. Agriculture is not a social sector. Agriculture is not a development activity. Agriculture is a business. And with this president, we began to look at agriculture differently. That we have to unlock the potential of agriculture. Potential is important, but nobody eats potential.
The minister stated that 40 years of corruption in the procurement and distribution of fertilizer by the old system of government was ended by the Jonathan administration.
So let me just go straight to the scorecard and share with you. First and foremost, people talk about corruption in this country. I don't think anything was more corrupt than the fertilizer sector in this country when I got here. For 40 years, we had a corruption going on in which Nigeria was spent 873 billion naira between 1980 and 2010 on fertilizer subsidies. Not more than 11% of that actually got to farmers. It went to political elites, it went to a lot of rent seekers. Most of it ended up in Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, you name it. Fertilizer got hands and legs and walked away from farmers. That was what we meant when we got here on ground. And Nigeria was estimated to have lost, an average of 776 billion naira to corruption in the fertilizer sector. And this was what we meant. People would bring fertilizer, 50% sand, 50% fertilizer. The farmers were actually being creamed and they lost their dignity. And under this president, it took us exactly 90 days to end the corruption of 40 years in the fertilizer and seed sector of this country. We started under this president, the nation's first ever registration of farmers in this country. We registered right now well over 11 million farmers. We have biometric information on these farmers. The farmers have cards, just like you and I will be having credit cards in this country. Not only are we the first to do it in Nigeria, we are the first in Africa to have a comprehensive database of our farmers, and it's all under this president. As a result of the program, I said 11% of farmers were getting fertilizer when we started. Today, 92% of the farmers that are registered are getting fertilizer and seeds. Now, we are the first in Africa to develop an electronic wallet system that allows us to send subsidized coupons for seeds and fertilizers and farm inputs directly to our farmers. Not only are we the first in Africa to do that, we are the first in the world to do that right here. you can see the figures. We've been able to reach 14 million farmers, all of them redeeming their seeds and fertilizers with absolutely no problems at all through the electronic wallet system. You can see the regional distribution. Let me say loud and clear that most of those that are benefited under this president from this innovative program are in the north of Nigeria. 10.3 million farmers out of the 14 million farmers have been from the northeast, the north central, and the northwest of Nigeria, as you can see it there. That tells you all across the country, every single part of this country is being touched by this president. Women, I can see that, you're all here, you're all powerful women in this country. Look at that. Before, women never got fertilizers and seeds. The men will sit under the tree and distribute whatever is left. But here, because of the electronic wallet system, you can see the women there. The women get their seeds and fertilizers via electronic coupons on their mobile phones. We have reached 2.5 million women through the electronic wallet system by 2014. And that's an increase of 287% since 2012 that we started. So we have brought equity into the system. Today, we have greater probity, accountability, and transparency in how this sector is working. When we started, 45% of the farmers had mobile phones. Today, 70% of the farmers have mobile phones, and you can see what has happened. This card has all their biometric information, plus all the allocations for farm inputs they are going to get is on this card. Right? Your photo, your fingerprints, and everything else. Every input retailer in the country has this Android-enabled platform. So in areas where you don't have mobile networks, you don't worry about that. We've already gone via that. You take this card, you tap it behind this, and you are in front of the input retailer. All your information shows within 60 seconds, you redeem your farm inputs and there is no network. And we are the first in the world to develop this near-field communication technology that I'm holding in my hands. And I want to thank the British government because they have helped us tremendously in this. And let me say that today, African countries, from Kenya to Tanzania to Uganda to Rwanda to Ethiopia, they are knocking on our doors in Nigeria to borrow these technologies from us, including India, Brazil, and China. Think about it. A country that used to be called a corrupt country and fertilizers and seeds, today is exporting transparency to the rest of the world.
According to the minister, the major success in the agricultural sector has pulled Nigeria's business magnet aggressively towards agriculture.
When we started, there were only 5 seed companies in this country. Today we have 80 seed companies in this country. Now, when we started, there was only 5,000 metric tons of seed total in this country. Today, we are producing 171,000 metric tons of seed. That is 34 times what we were producing when we started. In terms of investment in the fertilizer sector, because we cleaned up the sector, private sector are investing today into it. $5 billion of private investment has gone into fertilizer manufacturing in Nigeria, from Dangote, from Indorama, and also from Notori. Think about it. We are turning that natural gas we have with some of the fantastic policies that the Minister of Petroleum Resources has on the petrochemical policy, with the fertilizer policy. See what has happened, $5 billion of investment in that sector. Cassava, of course, Nigeria is the largest producer of cassava in the world. I'm glad that you all came here and you saw the cassava bread. You know, you will never, in my office, is the only thing I eat for lunch. Anybody who come to my office, this is the first thing you're going to have. Now, I want you to see, this bread is out of high-quality cassava flour made in Nigeria. 20% substitution into this bread. When this president got up at the Federal Executive Council and he took bread up in his hand, some people are laughing and say, oh, what is the president doing holding up bread? What is bread? Now, well, here it is. We're spending $5 billion importing wheat. And think about that. That is money we should be using for education, for health, for infrastructure, and so on. We're giving other countries. We decided we will save 125 billion naira every year by substituting 20% of high-quality cassava flour in our bread. Now, today, this is what we have. I'm going to ask you ate it, right? So you tell me what you think. Don't think about it.
And It's so delicious. It really tastes good. Normally I would eat my bread with butter, but you don't need butter with this one. It melts in your mouth.
Now, look at it. This is ShopRite in Lagos. And we have so many of it. They are all outside here. You will see them all over. We have 30 bakeries across the country that are doing this fantastic bread and substituting, including a Pack and Shop and ShopRite and several others. Now, let me give you a secret. Today, every single bag of flour you buy in the country, right, already has high-quality cassava flour in it. Please, where's that slide? Please show you the slide. This president decided that we should make sure that we can produce a lot more of the high-quality cassava flour. Look, if I hold the high-quality cassava flour in my hand and I hold wheat flour in my hand, you will not know absolutely any difference. It's not your lafu at all. It's a totally different kind of flour. This is what we are doing. The president and council approved for us to purchase 6 medium plants. Total capacity 148,000 metric tons that will allow us to produce a lot of the flour needed by the flour milling industry to continue to make this and also confectionaries. They are being done now by the Bank of Industry through a facility we have with them. And the flour mills, you can see these flour mills of Nigeria, you know, they are doing a great job. I used to fight with them. I used to fight with every single one of them. But today, I am happy to let you know that the flour milling industry is 100% in alignment with the president on this particular issue. And just in another week, you will see a big event at which we are going to roll out all of their products.
Here are some facts. Since its launch in 2011, the Agricultural Transformation Agenda has recorded impressive results.
Now, in terms of, I've talked about the 4.3 billion naira cassava fund that we have with the president. He gave us. We are upgrading small SMEs. We are upgrading master bakers. We are training them all across the country, and we are giving them change in their equipment. This slide that you see over here is large-scale cassava mechanization. It's the first time that Nigeria is doing large-scale cassava mechanization. We're doing 5,000 hectares in 10 different locations. It's totally mechanized planting, totally mechanized fertilizer application, mechanized application of herbicides in it, harvesting, everything is mechanized. We brought in some Brazilians that are working with Nigerians. This is in Abraka. The governor, Oduagon, called me from this particular farm. He's now grown. And he said, I'm walking right through this farm in my car, and it's as if I am in the United States of America, and this is Nigeria today on cassava. We have a lot of investors that are coming into this space. Look, cassava is gold. Cassava is gold. You use cassava for starch. You use cassava for sorbitol. Your toothpaste is made out of starch. We're using that now to do that. So cassava for sweeteners to replace sugar that we are currently importing. Cassava for ethanol. Cassava for dry cassava chips for exports to China. God did not make a mistake when he made Nigeria the largest producer of cassava in the world. So our work is to expand that and make sure it's working. Of the companies, global companies, Unilever, flour mills, Nigerian starch company, everyone is going into cassava. It's a different ball game today. Let me talk to you about rice. Rice, of course, as you know, it's very important. I eat rice 3 times a day. I even like eating Rice Krispies in the morning for breakfast. But the problem is that we are using our population to make other countries, India, Thailand, and so on, very rich because we eat all of their rice. All that is changing under this president. When the president started, he said we should drive for self-sufficiency in rice. Look, if you are buying so much food of others, what you're doing is you're exporting jobs. You're decimating your own rural economies. You're making your farmers poorer, and you're making the rest of the world millionaires while you're at home creating poverty as if that poverty was an industry. In 3 years, we have done as follows. First, we have increased production of rice by an additional, underline the word, additional 7 million metric tons of rice.
Food production has expanded by an additional 21 million metric tons.
So we decided that we have to add value to our sorghum. And next slide will show you exactly what we've done. Next slide on that. You see today, Nigerian Breweries is buying from 250,000 farmers the sorghum, and they used to replace malt, all the maltina you are drinking in Nigeria. is coming using the sorghum that we have been working with them on. We developed and released new hybrids of cocoa that gives you yield that is 5 times what farmers are currently getting and matures in 2.5 years instead of maturing in 5 years. And we have increased our production and export of cocoa. In 2012, we exported $900 million worth of cocoa beans. In 2013, we exported $1.2 billion of cocoa beans. And we expect this year to be able to export $1.3 to $1.4 billion worth of cocoa beans.
Over 3 million farm jobs have been created.
Now, look at that farm. Is that not a happy farmer? Show me that farmer's face. Yeah, this is the cocoa pods that you're talking about. It will change their lives. It's 5 times the income that they will get from that. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have increased our maize production. Not to 12 million we promised the president. We've increased it to 14.6 million metric tons. Nigeria used to be the largest producer of oil palm in the world, or palm oil in the world. We lost that to Malaysia. We lost that to Indonesia. Now, we are working hard under this president to reverse that. And you see the investments in new rice mills is just incredible that in just 2.5 years, we've been able to get the global players to be investing so massively. Presco Okomo, for the first time in the history of this country, we gave our fisher folks with access to fish feed, fingerlings. We gave them access to nets and floaters and so on. And the fish production in the country for artisanal fish rose from 292,000 metric tons in 2011 to 418,000 metric tons in 2014. And farm fish from aquaculture rose from 221,000 metric tons in 2011 to 278,000 metric tons by 2014. And we continue to grow. This is Nigeria's first ever deep sea marine research vessel that we have bought, and this was done for us in Poland. This allows us to be able now to know what we have under the sea, to be able to know what we can actually harvest, how much we can harvest. You cannot optimize what you don't see. And that's why the president approved for us to get this ship. It's a fantastic ship, and it's right now, it's called BV Bayabona. Thank you, Mr. President. This is right outside of Abuja, right outside here. It can process 300 cows per day, 890 sheep per day, and 1,870 goats per day. This is Nigeria's first ever halal certified beef that is done by Alaji Tafida out of here. We have a facility with the Central Bank of Nigeria called NISA. That has allowed the banks to reduce their risk of lending. We reduce their risk so they can lend more. Let me give you some statistics. Seed companies in 2012, the banks lend them $10 million. In 2013, the banks lend the seed companies $53 million. Fertilizer companies and agro dealers in rural areas. One of them is here. You can get on, so you can ask him all the questions. So, you know, the press people can go and talk to him. Don't talk to me, talk to him. They're the ones doing it. The banks lent the fertilizer companies in 2012 $100 million because of that facility. But by last year, the banks lent them $500 million. And that is what happens when we are having this kind of things. We have also launched a new facility, next slide please, which is called Fund for Financing Agriculture in Nigeria. This is a $100 million facility to provide long-term finance for SMEs in the agriculture space.
Food import has declined by 38% from 1.1 trillion naira in 2009 to 635 billion naira in 2013.
The food import of Nigeria declined from 1.1 trillion naira at the end of 2009 to 635 billion naira at the end of December 2013. That is down.
The Ministry of Health. The transformation in the health sector, as presented by the representative of the Honorable Minister of Health at the Public Affairs Forum on the Jonathan administration's 4 impactful years, started with a look at the improved health outcomes in Nigeria and how they are critical to the achievement of the National Vision 2020. as well as the National Strategic Development Plan, which was launched and adopted in December 2010 by Mr. President as the roadmap for the transformation agenda in the health sector.
The National Strategic Development Plan 2010 to 2015 was launched in December 2010 by President Goodluck as a roadmap for the transformation agenda in the health sector. The Federal Ministry of Health wishes to state unequivocally that it has religiously pursued the transformation agenda in the health sector following this roadmap till date.
He challenged the audience to measure the growth in the health sector by comparing the advanced work that had been done on some major projects within the sector.
As a result of the commitment of the ministry to the implementation of the transformation agenda through the strategic plan, some of the hitherto neglected integral aspects of general health have been receiving attention. These include oral health, mental health, neglected tropical diseases, medical physics, and paramedics technology. Several health policies and instruments were developed to drive this transformation agenda in the health sector. They are as shown on the screen. More than 433,650 lives had been saved as of December 2018. Our achievements in infrastructural development include completion of the rehabilitation and equipping of Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital, Ile-Ife, and the University of Benin Teaching Hospital. Rehabilitation of Nnamdi Azikiwe University Teaching Hospital and the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital, which is 80% completion. At 80% completion. Establishment of national trauma centers in the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital and the National Hospital Abuja. While that of the National Hospital has been commissioned, that of the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital is near completion. We also have completion, equipping and commissioning of the 150-bedded Federal Staff Hospital, Jabi, Abuja, a turnkey project in collaboration with the Chinese government. The health sector acquired administrative headquarters buildings for the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria and the Nigeria Center for Disease Control in Abuja. The status of other projects are shown on the screen. Nigeria Center for Disease Control Reference Laboratory, Gadua, is nearing completion. Other similar projects are as shown on the screen. Additionally, all the equipment meant for hospitals that were hitherto abandoned at the Lagos port have been released for installation and improvement of service delivery in the tertiary hospitals across the country. The Federal Medical Centers of Abakaliki and Gombe were upgraded to the status of a teaching hospital. On the delivery of medical services, several milestones have been achieved from 2011 to date. Among the numerous achievements are establishment of geriatric units in federal tertiary hospitals as directed by the National Council on Health. The Geriatric Center of the University College Hospital Ibadan has been commissioned. The stem cell transplant was a breakthrough in the treatment of the dreaded sickle cell disease by the University of Benin Teaching Hospital in January 2012. It is important to inform the Nigerian public that the following centers have the capability to carry out renal transplants in the country. The Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital, Ile-Ife, Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital, Zaria, Aminu Kano University Teaching Hospital, Kano, University College Hospital, Ibadan, others as shown on the screen. In the same vein, the Center of Excellence for Heart Disease at the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, Enugu, has been refurbished, and resumption of open heart surgery has commenced after being moribund for 10 years. So far, more than 55 open heart surgeries have been performed by the center since 2013. Microsurgery of the brain is also being conducted at the Federal Medical Center, Umuahia. Laparoscopy surgery has commenced at the Federal Teaching Hospital, Gombe. While full laparoscopy services are currently being delivered at the Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital, Ile-Ife. Total knee and hip replacements are being carried out at the National Orthopedic Hospitals in Enugu and Igbobi, Lagos, as well as the Federal Medical Center, Yenagua, and the University of Benin Teaching Hospital. Other achievements on infrastructural development are shown on the screen. There was procurement and distribution of 12 ambulances to federal tertiary hospitals, procurement and distribution of 80 blood banks to both private and public health facilities in the country, procurement of chelating agents for the treatment of 400 victims of lead poisoning in Zamfara State, establishment of 6 special sickle cell treatment centers, and others are shown on the screen. Towards polio eradication in Nigeria, Mr. President doubled the funding of polio eradication activities to 4.7 billion naira in 2012 and inaugurated the Presidential Task Force on Polio Eradication. Already there is a 96% reduction in wild polio virus burden in Nigeria, and only 2 cases have been reported in the last 1 year. There is also an improvement in the population immunity to polio from 65% to 85% within 1 year. The national immunization coverage exceeded 80% in 2013 for the first time in 2 decades. There was introduction of new cerebrospinal meningitis vaccine, which confers protection for at least 10 years, as against 3 years with the previous vaccine. In a nutshell, the country has achieved 25% reduction in unimmunized children by March 2014 compared to same period in the last 1 year. As for malaria, progress has been made over the years towards the elimination using multiple strategies, which include integrated vector management, test before treatment policy, intermittent positive prevention, treatment in pregnant women, and the case management.
These are the facts. There were only 19 teaching hospitals before 2011, and now there are 21. Only 10 teaching hospitals had been modernized before 2011, but now we have 14. Recruitment of healthcare workers under the Shopee initiative, creating 12,100 jobs. Establishment of 10 national blood transfusion centers. Building of 3 VVF National Obstetrics and Fistula Center. Initiation of 10 public-private partnership in federal tertiary institution when there was none before 2011, and more. In 2013, Nigeria recorded an increase in rice production in northern states, up to 1.1 million metric tons. This was as a result of the Agricultural Transformation Program by President Goodluck Jonathan. Since 2011, 7 million metric tons of paddy rice has been added to national production. Under President Jonathan, there has been an increase of 400% in silo capacity. With over 60 million Nigerian farmers gaining access to the e-wallet platform, now receive subsidized farm inputs without middlemen, thereby checkmating decades of corruption in the system, and over 50 billion naira has been saved from the fraud. The introduction of dry season farming through irrigation in 10 northern states, Kebbi, Zamfara, Sokoto, Katsina, Jigawa, Gombe, Niger, Kogi, and Bauchi in 2013, farm output has increased by up to 107 million metric tons. The reform in the agricultural sector has attracted over $4 billion. The food importation bill before Jonathan became president was 1.4 trillion naira, but now less than 700 billion naira. 433,650 lives have been saved under the Save 1 Million Lives initiative from November 2012 to June 2013 through scaling up of 6 effective interventions, including maternal and child health nutrition. For the first time ever, no new type 3 wild polio virus has been recorded in the last 1 year. There has been no guinea worm infection in Nigeria. Under the transformation agenda of President Goodluck Jonathan, life expectancy at birth was 47 before President Jonathan. Today, there has been an improvement. It stands at 52. We truly salute the Jonathan administration for its 4 impactful years, and we want more.